This is Vivica from the Nourished Caveman and the Healing Foods Method. And it's been a minute since I have done a live video, and I'm excited to be back here today. For those of you who are new and new to following me, I am a holistic practitioner specializing in nutrition, in female hormones and general hormone balancing, and in healing diets like ketogenic diet, carnivore diet, paleo diet. So multiple tools to achieve healing and rebalance your hormones. Being a holistic practitioner, I deal with an array of conditions every day with my patients in the practice, and I try to bring you mostly my clinical expertise in these live videos. So this is not just about the theory of nutrition. It is a lot of my knowledge that has been gained with working with real people, real cases through the years, and can hopefully help you in addressing and understanding more about you, what you might be going through. So this is a Q&A. I welcome your questions. Today our topic is autoimmunity and autoimmune diseases, but more specifically like the process of autoimmunity. How do we get there? Why does it happen? How does it happen? And also, what can we do about it? And so I'm not going to be very specific about one condition or another. Some of you might know that I did have Hashimoto's before, and I was diagnosed about 6 years ago, and I was able to heal myself of my both hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's. So I have had first-hand experience on my own body about what it means to have an autoimmune disease. I also work pretty much on a daily basis with patients who deal with autoimmune conditions. So I am happy to be back here and with all of you. I would love questions and to share your experience. Let's make this a conversation as usual. And again, I'm going to try to bring you some perspective and good insight on what it means to have an autoimmune disease and what we can do to help. So first of all, I want to start with my favorite quote in nutrition. It says, autoimmune is just a phase of disease. So every disease will become autoimmune eventually. It is just a phase that any disease reaches. What does that mean? It ties in with the process of autoimmunity. So let's just start the first part of this video. I'm just going to start explaining to you how does your body turn autoimmune? How does that happen? So first of all, we should talk about immune system, just a little bit. Immune system is very complex and many different cells with different jobs. It's closely related to our gut health, as you know, it's becoming more and more known. But our immune system is mainly comprised of two parts. One is an innate part and the one that is an adaptive part. What does it mean? That the innate part pretty much deals with automatic responses, and they are built in kind of into your body since birth, and they continue their job when functional, when not disrupted. They continue their job kind of like on a train track. There is not much change there. So those are kind of like cells like macrophages. They have a specific job and they do that job and they always do the same thing. Now the other part of our immune system, that's the one that we are more concerned with because it's the part that actually is connected to autoimmunity, is the adaptive immune system. Adaptive means that it's actually a part that learns and develops and grows and learns from your life experience, meaning your contact with pathogens, your contact with antigens, and it creates a selective immune response to different attackers so that your body remembers what it has come in contact with to have a healthier, quicker response. Now, Let's talk for a second about antigens and antibodies, because this is very, it's the very core mechanism of our immunity. So antigens are defined as proteins that enter the blood, foreign proteins that enter the bloodstream. So they do not belong in the bloodstream, even though those proteins might belong to your body, meaning they carry the DNA sequences of a certain organ or a certain type of cell. So let's say that we're talking about the proteins of your heart. They have a very specific configuration that tells, the DNA is like kind of the blueprint of your house. So when the cells replicate, they replicate from that specific blueprint. They will create other cells that are identical to them. So those cells belong on your heart. They don't belong anywhere else in your body, because they might, if they went around to other places in your body, and here I'm getting very simplified, this is not high science, I want to make this very clear and understandable for all of you who are watching, so forgive my simple language, but it's not about the fancy words here. It's really about getting the concept of what's happening in your body so you can understand it. So the cells of your heart, the proteins, the amino acid links, chains, if they end up in your bloodstream, they will be carried to other part of your body where they might attach and start replicating and growing. So when a protein is found in the bloodstream, what does your body do? Your body responds as an attacker, as that protein is an attacker, creating a matching cell called an antibody. That antibody is really creates kind of like to target, hunt down, and kind of engulf and neutralize that antigen. And what happens when the antigen is found, the antibody it's your immune cell, finds it and neutralizes it. It creates a histamine, and that histamine is then cleared through your liver. So those are all really important factors, so let's explain what happens. Let's talk about, give example now of your thyroid, because a lot of you might have heard of Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It is autoimmune process of your thyroid. Many of my clients struggle with that, and it's a very common condition nowadays in America. So what happens? How does Hashimoto start? For example, your thyroid might be damaged, and there are a number of things that can be damaging to the thyroid. So damage meaning there might be tissue that is necrotic, the gland might lack oxygen, it might be damaged by toxins, by heavy metals, by radiation. These are all examples of things that can damage the thyroid. Another big one is viruses, talk of the day, right? So a virus like Epstein-Barr virus, it will nestle itself. It basically goes dormant inside your thyroid, and then it slowly starts destroying it from the inside out. It causes damage basically to the cells. What happens then? Then when the virus, the metals, whichever source originating cause is causing the damage to the thyroid starts being causing the tissue to be necrotic, and kind of cells coming off into the bloodstream, and your immune system is gonna, especially the endothelial system, is coming to clean up that damage, because you don't want those random thyroid proteins to be floating around in your body and landing in different places, as we talked about before. So the endothelial system comes and is like the big cleanup crew of the damage. But what happens when the thyroid or any other gland or organ is really damaged is that system of your body gets overwhelmed, and it doesn't keep up with that overwhelming amount of dead cells that are going into your body, coming off from the thyroid and ending up in the bloodstream because they are not being able to get swept up from your immune system. So proteins end up in the bloodstream where they don't belong, and they start creating antigens. So this is the first step. Now there is another very important step, that is the connection with your gut. So number one, your gut is responsible for producing a lot of the immune response. And it's also, your gut is responsible for assimilating nutrients, but not letting those nutrients or those proteins get into your bloodstream. So what happens when they do is your gut has become leaky, your gut has become permeable. There is a lot of talk about leaky gut these days, but not always you can see the connection between leaky gut and autoimmunity. So these are really important things for you to know, because you know that in order for you to get an autoimmune disease, there's got to be a certain level of gut permeability. And at the same time, in order for you to fix your autoimmune disease, you need to fix your gut first. So this is a very important concept. So, for example, when it comes to thyroid autoimmunity, why do we stress so much the importance of eliminating gluten from your diet? The reason is because the gluten proteins go through your system, through your digestive system, end up in your intestines, where through leaky gut, they are, as they're processed and digested, they end up in your bloodstream. They end up going through the wall of your intestine and end up on the other side into your bloodstream, where they do not belong. And guess what? The cells of gluten, the amino acids of gluten, the amino acid chains of a gluten protein, which is gliadin, they look really similar to amino acid chains of a thyroid protein. And this is why having that many, similar cells in your bloodstream is going to spike up the immune response, sending it almost in like an overactive immune response. And they're going to go after that gluten, but also eventually your immune system is kind of going to get dysregulated and confused, and it's going to go after the thyroid itself. So not only the thyroid was damaged and is like leaking out cells where they don't belong, creating antibodies, but those autoantibodies are also produced in reaction to gliadin proteins and amino acids from gluten that are getting into your bloodstream. So you see, it's kind of a vicious cycle here. And when you eat gluten and you have a leaky gut, it really is like pouring gasoline on the fire of your autoimmunity. And by the way, they are not, gluten proteins and amino acids are not just similar to your thyroid, but they're similar to a lot of different organs, especially the thyroid. But if you look at the chain and the letters on them, like, it's almost like being dyslexic. It's the same ones in a slightly different orders. If you look at them at first glance, they're identical. So it's very easy to understand why your body would be confused and attack one protein for the other. They're really similar. Now, let's talk about immune system dysregulation. What are some of the causes that actually might make your immune system even more reactive, even more kind of jumping, kind of jumping the gun almost, and like creating these autoantibodies and creating this autoimmune response? At the base of immune system dysregulation, there are kind of the same causes that we find in like when a gland or an organ gets dysfunctional and gets kind of sick. So we can have toxicity due to heavy metals and general toxins. Glyphosates is a big thing. Glyphosates, by the way, they're antibiotics. They are not, that's the way they work. So that's the way glyphosates work in your gut, is they totally imbalance and pretty much kill your microbiome. So eating any food that is not organic in this day and age, or eating any food that is GMO or is like Roundup proof, you know, it means that it's gonna eventually, slowly but surely, destroy your gut. That's why so many people in America these days have got problems. That's why so many of you have to recur to extreme diets like a carnivore diet, because you're not able to deal with fiber anymore because the microbiome is so compromised. And this, excuse me, remember, microbiome equals immunity. Health of your microbiome equals immune system health. Other causes of immune dysregulation can be trauma. So it could be a physical trauma. It could be even psychological trauma. As you know, the brain-gut connection, it goes both ways. So our gut health influences our brain, and brain trauma can influence gut functioning as well. Another big topic here for immune dysregulation is vaccinations. Vaccinations carry many toxic elements. Yes, the concept of a vaccine is very sound and good concept when the vaccine is not created in toxic medium. Toxic carriers like formaldehyde, peanut oil, other seed oils, everything that is like toxic carried in a vaccine can really impair your immune system from early on in life and create a propensity for autoimmune reactions. So what can we do? How do we handle autoimmunity? And forgive my accent today, seems to be very strong. Varies on the day. The first step, that's something that everybody can do without really the help of a professional, but you can just do by educating yourself and finding good information on the internet or books, or you know, looking at good blogs from a lot of practitioners like me, and bloggers, health bloggers have great information. First thing you can do is a low antigen diet. And here I have a whole neat little list of what a low antigen diet includes. So a low antigen diet can be part of a bigger umbrella of a diet. You can be keto and do low antigen. You can be paleo and do low antigen. You can be carnivore. That's kind of the ultimate low antigen diet. Low FODMAP, or it could even be vegetarian. But the things that you need to pay attention to are those proteins that will cause that and exacerbate that autoimmunity response. So the number one thing is no wheat and no GMO. Again, wheat is not only bad because of the gliadin protein, it also double bad because mostly it is a GMO food and it is being sprayed with glyphosates. So it has kind of this double whammy that really compounds the damage on your body. Sometimes people ask me, can I eat ancient grains that are organic, heirloom grains that have not been genetically modified, they have not been sprayed? Sure, that will be better than commercial grains that have all of the above. So if you must have grains, for whatever reason you think you must have grains, at least make sure that they are non-GMO, organic, and not sprayed. So no wheat, no GMO, no soy, for the same reasons as above. The soy is also one of those crops that is like highly genetically modified and toxic with lots of pesticides and chemical fertilizers and glyphosates, etc. No pasteurized dairy. Same thing with the proteins, proteins that will end up in your bloodstream. And then low on meats that are grain-fed, because some of the stuff that the cow ate will end up in the meat. So that's why a lot of carnivores really stress the importance of having grass-fed meat, organic and grass-fed. That is the ultimate, really the ultimate health consciousness when you are doing an elimination diet for health, like some carnivores do, really paying attention of the source of your meat. Same for poultry and same for eggs. A lot of people that become sensitive to eggs, they don't know that what they are sensitive to is not the egg itself, is all the chemicals, toxins, and GMO stuff that the poor hens were fed, and also antibiotics that the hens were given. So the cleaner the eggs you eat, the less chance you will have to become sensitive to those eggs. What belongs in a low antigen diet is grass-fed meats. Those are great. Organic and grass-fed, pastured, yes. Same for eggs, same for poultry, all kinds of meat, of course, both ruminants and poultry. Yes to fish, but it has to be either sustainable or low mercury. So usually small fish, wild caught from clean waters, it's getting harder and harder to find them. Make sure you educate yourself about fish. Not only they're really toxic these days, there is a lot of overfishing, so you don't want to compound the problem. And the last great thing you can have on a low antigen diet is lacto-fermented vegetables. Easy to digest, easy to absorb, basically partially digested for you, and helping your gut and your immunity through a boost of your microbiome. So this is kind of it in a nutshell. Let me see, I have some notes here if there is anything else. I've also talked about two kinds of diets. One is a therapeutic diet that will help you achieve a goal until you're healed, and then a long-term diet that is actually going to keep you healthy for long periods of time. So in this case, I just want to mention that as part of the low antigen diets, a carnivore diet for me is a great diet to help against autoimmunity, but I see that more as a therapeutic diet, not as a long-term diet. We will speak more about carnivore again. This topic will come up in the future, and we'll talk about it more from my perspective. It is also very much talk of the town here. So this is about everything that I had to cover for today. I would love to see if you have any questions. If you're here, also say hi. If you're new to my channel, I'm Vivica from the Nourished Caveman. This video will be on YouTube and will be also shared through my newsletter. Sorry, my voice is low today. I've been having some allergies. It's been windy and I was into the forest with the wind. All the molds are flying, so and pollens and things. My voice is going down a little bit. I hope everybody is safe out there. I know that these are interesting, strange times. Talking of coronavirus, everybody is talking about that. I have decided to possibly do a webinar on it, but I'm still educating myself as the information is really kind of changing day by day, and more and more information is being revealed day by day. So I feel like I am not in a place of solid enough information to share with all of you, but please, it very much applies to immunity and autoimmunity, very much applies to the topic of viruses, because like protecting yourself by boosting your immune function is so far the best, the best way to address a virus, a pandemic like we're having. Of course, also isolating, staying at home, and making sure you're safe in your contact with others, especially if you think you are sick. But the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is to take care of your immune system. And first thing is cut out the sugar. If you do only one thing, sugar really does lower immune function. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for following. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel here. Follow me here on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. And I will post about the next live video. I'm not going to do videos every week anymore. We're slowly changing strategy, but I'm still always here to answer your question and help you with your health concerns. And you can always email me at at thenourishedcaveman.com. Vivica at thenourishedcaveman.com. Have a great week and stay safe out there.